Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
So he's praying to the Father.
Yeah.
So he's not praying to himself. Okay, so that means he has a God.
But you believe in this prayer?
I believe in the Quran because that is what is preserved. In the Bible that we have printed today, I believe, as you believe, that a lot of has been twisted and changed, and there's a lot of deception and changes. So anything in the Bible today that I see, I have to judge it by the Quran. Does that make sense to you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So let me read one more verse for you. Revelations chapter 3, verse 12. He who overcomes, I will make him a pillar in the temple of my God, and he shall go out no more. Revelations chapter 3, verse 12. Right? I will write on him the name of my God and the name of the city of my God, the new Jerusalem, which came down out of heaven from my God. So who's Jesus' God? The Father. So Jesus is not God then, because God wouldn't have a God, right? That makes no sense, right?
Yeah, you see, I don't dispute to know everything about the so-called Trinity. You know.
I agree with you that it makes no sense.
Well,
right?
I wouldn't say it doesn't make no sense.
Well, how does it make sense?
I don't know.
I mean, tell me how it makes sense. You're a human being. You're intelligent, right? So if God has a God, does that make sense? Does the Father have a God?
Now, if I come to this, I'll say I don't know, and then I'll quote the Old Testament that says.
God is not the author of confusion?
No. It says it's somebody. Because I know there's different sects of Islam, different sects, heretics.
But there's only one Islam.
Heretics, anyway, different sects. And I guess there's one that said that Ali was. There was a sect, a heretical sect that said Ali was like the son of God.
No. Nobody said he was the son of God.
No, there's supposed to be a sect.
No, there's not. Let me break it down to you.
No, there are a lot of different sects.
I know all the sects. I taught Aqidah.
Okay. I read a book at State College. It says that there was a sect that considered Ali was like the son of God.
Your book was wrong.
Really?
Yes. All right. There was. Let me explain it to you. Yeah. So there is a sect called the Rafida, right? And they believed in Ali being the first that should have been the successor.
Oh yeah.
Some of them went to what's called ghulu. Ghulu means
all the Shiites believe that?
Not exactly. The Shiites have a lot of different sects as well between them, right? Some of them said he wasn't and he shouldn't have been, but he was more virtuous, blah, blah, blah. Point being that the sect that you're talking about, some of them would pray to Ali, but they didn't call him the son of God. They considered him as very close to God, so you can pray to him, which is wrong.
Kind of like the Baha'is, something like that.
Baha'i is a whole different religion, right? And Baha'i was an offshoot.
They kind of deified Baha'i.
Yeah, so what Baha'i do is they take a little bit of Islam, a little bit of Christianity, a little bit of Hinduism, put it in a blender and mix it up, right? So they say we believe in the Bible and the Quran, which again doesn't really make sense because there would be conflicting creedal matters, right?
So could you make kind of a vague, because like Jehovah's Witnesses, they don't say Jesus is God. Jehovah's Witnesses.
Really?
They make a distinction between Son of God and God.
Okay. Okay. You do not?
I'm kind of a liberal Christian. I like Christianity. I'm searching for the true religion. I've studied them all. And I'm just kind of trying to enrich my knowledge. But the more I study about religion, the more doubtful about, I'm against all of that.
All right, but Islam, what about Islam? Because Islam is a very personal religion.
Them all, and that's what
right, but what's your issue with Islam? What's stopping you from being a Muslim?
Just because I'm doubtful of all religions.
But why Islam? I mean, don't like for example, if I don't like a political setup of a government, I can't reject.
War. That contradicts.
You don't believe what?
I don't believe in war.
You don't believe in war ever? Like let's say China attacks America right now and they're like killing people. You wouldn't defend your wife and kids?
I'm not as. I mean, Islam says that it's better to believe in war than not believe in war.
That's not what Islam says. Where does Islam say that?
I think I read it.
Here's the Quran.
Well, okay, it puts like the people.
So let me explain something, right? Right now, if let's say Russia invaded the U.S., right, and you're standing here, and your wife and your kids, or your sister, your mother, whoever's with you, and the Russian soldiers, I mean, just as an example, are gunning people down. They're about to rape your mom. You wouldn't defend her?
Of course.
So then you do believe in use of violence for defense.
Yeah.
So this is what's called jihad difa'. This is the jihad of protecting, right? Where you would not allow somebody to take your property, your family, to harm your peoples So this is Islam's belief, and you believe in that, right?
But kind of, I would have to say, from what I read in Islam, I'm more against the war than the Quran is.
The what?
And I think even some of the Quran, it says something about if there weren't wars, the population would be too great.
No, that's not in the Quran anywhere.
What?
That's not in the Quran anywhere.
That's what I thought I read.
You read wrong, bro.
What did it say? What did it say?
I mean, I don't know which verse you're referring to, but there's no such verse in the Quran. The Quran does tell you that, to the gist of it, that if somebody attacks, then you fight them, and you prepare. Yeah, I've studied it and I've taught it. So no such verse. I can guarantee you that.
They're different when you translate them, I know that.
It's not about translation. I've studied the whole Quran cover to cover in Arabic in its original language, right?
Pretty sure I came across.
So there's a Quran right here. If you like, find the verse and we can discuss it, right? But the Quran says that if there's enemies, then prepare yourself for war. Prepare the seeds of war. But if they incline towards peace, then incline towards peace, right? Wouldn't that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Excellent. Now think about this, right?
And also, okay, think about putting up a person's hands. I mean, it just
sorry?
seems way off base. Cut off a person's hands for stealing.
Okay. Does that really? Let's talk about that, right? So
I talk about a lot with other Muslims.
So let's talk about it right now. I'm here, right? So if you think about it, if you are in a place.
I don't think anyone could convince me.
Hold
right
on.
now. And here,
Let me just.
I say I'm not God. God knows better than me. And
There you go.
I'll grant that it may be true, but my own feeling is that no, it can't be right.
But let me explain it to you and then see how you feel about it.
Okay, I heard it explained. I heard your argument.
But you haven't heard me.
Okay.
So let's just listen, right? So let's say there's somebody who has the ability that they can earn a living.
I'm gonna take it.
Go for it. So they have no physical problem, they're not mentally challenged, they're not too young, all of that aside, and they come just to rob people for no real need, meaning that they're not starving, they're not in a state where they can't afford food, so they're just robbing people. Do you think that's right?
No.
Okay, so now in America what we would do is you would then arrest them and then put them in jail, right?
Some punishment.
Grand theft auto, for example, right? Grand theft. A lot. I mean, we're not talking about a small candy being stolen, but in a state where they go and then they go into a prison system where now me and you pay taxes to keep them for what? There's no rehabilitation, right? I mean, is there any rehabilitation programs in prison?
Yeah, I could say they could be used, for example, slavery.
Right, but do you think that's correct?
They could put like an iron band or a tattoo on their hand.
So you're pro-slavery?
What?
So you're pro-slavery? Are you pro-slavery then?
No, not really.
Okay, I mean, so how about
maybe not permanent, depending on the
temporary slavery is okay? Okay, that's interesting. All right, well, I'm not pro-slavery, so I can't really.
It seems like mutilating.
Right, but think about this, right? But let's think through that, right? If you knew that if you get caught stealing, you would have your hand chopped off, would you steal?
No.
So there you go. It's
I'm
prevention.
not saying
It's prevention
I'm right, but
instead of cure, right?
I just make all these decisions like I'm not, and I look at all religions. I like Christianity
Excellent.
better. So
Really? Well, but why?
But I'm still searching because the more I study about religion, the more skeptical. I mean, like even the
So what is the?
election? The president's election in this country. The president's election.
Can you hand me my Bible?
Trump said it was rigged. The election was rigged, right?
Okay.
So I said, well, I want to look into this. I want to look into election system. I've been asking everyone.
Okay.
Everyone. Nobody knows how the election system works.
So let's
Everyone. How does
let's stick to religion. I don't want to get into politics, right? So when you talk about penalties and how you about cutting of the hand and so on, right? So let's read from the Bible. Because you said you like Christianity right now, right?
I prefer Christianity.
Okay, so in Exodus,
But I'm very skeptical about the Old Testament because that's the Jewish Bible.
but is that not from the same God? Is it a different God?
All I know is that Christianity, they say the New Testament was canonized before the Old Testament. They say
Wait, what?
They said
How
about
could
year
the New
300 or
Testament be
so,
before the Old
the
Testament?
Christians put together? They said they canonized the New Testament. The Old Testament, they say, was canonized after the New Testament because it was very loosely organized.
Okay, so in the Christian Bible today, most of it is the Old Testament.
Well,
I mean,
we would say
I
the
can show you.
We'd say that starting after
Matthew.
Malachi is the New Testament, the Christian Bible. Before Malachi is the Old Testament, the Jewish Bible.
So look at this, right? Here's a Bible. This is the New Testament, right? And this is the Old Testament.
Yeah.
What's thicker?
The Old Testament.
Okay, so this Christian Bible today is mostly the Old Testament, right? I just showed it to you.
The New Testament is the Christian Bible, the Old Testament is the Jewish Bible.
So you don't believe in the Old Testament?
I believe in it.
Okay, you believe in it.
But I'm more skeptical of the Old Testament.
Do you believe in it or not?
I'm skeptical of it. Much of it. Much of the information is.
So you don't believe this is from God, the Old Testament?
I believe if it is, it's very imperfect.
Okay, the New Testament's from God, right?
I would say more perfect.
Okay, so in Romans, chapter 1, 27, it says, likewise, if the men, leaving the natural use of women, burnt with their lust for one another, men with men, committing that which is shameful, and receiving in themselves the penalty of their error, which is due. Verse 32 shows their penalty. What is it? Those who practice such things are deserving of death, not only do the same, but also approve of those who practice them. So do you think homosexuals should be put to death? Right here. Let's read it right here.
Yeah, I would say that would
No, let me read it again to you.
That could be like God.
Those who practice such things.
Maybe disease. Maybe disease.
So you think there's a special disease that comes on every homosexual?
I don't know about that, but it's,
But this is the New Testament.
yeah.
So you do believe in this?
I would say the Gospels mostly. The Gospels.
This is from the Gospels. I mean, it's from Romans, but the New Testament, right?
Epistles attributed to Paul.
So you don't believe in the writings of Paul?
Well, one of the I think St. Peter warned. He says the letters of Paul are distorted.
Okay, so me and you now agree that the New Testament has things that are distorted.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So how about the Quran that has not been distorted? Why don't you believe in that? Wouldn't that make more sense?
Well, honestly, from what I know now, I prefer Christianity.
But why?
It just seems like, for example, just think about stealing.
So, but I just showed you that, you have death for homosexuality. Don't you think that's a harsher punishment than...
that means more like a disease or something, not necessarily like...
But that's not what it says. You're reading into the verse that's what's not there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me give you another.
Jesus says, judge no man lest you be judged.
Really?
He says, judge no man lest you be judged.
So what is the penalty for killing in Christianity?
It's kind of normally most Christians believe. I kind of believe in that one. That's penalty, but
I'm sorry, what?
Death penalty.
But you just said you can't judge.
Yeah, it's kind of a.
Doesn't make sense.
It's kind of a contradiction.
Excellent. So it is a contradiction, right?
Jesus was officially by the Jewish religion. He was put to death. He was a heretic and he was put to death.
So Jesus was a heretic.
According to the Jewish religion,
Well, according to you, I'm asking. No? So you believe that people should be judged then? Because you just said somebody who murders should be put to death.
I would say, but there should be extreme reluctance to judge people. A lot of leniency, extreme.
So that's not the point again, right? In one thing you're saying that Jesus said you can't judge.
He did say that.
And then you're saying you should judge. So that doesn't really make sense, does it?
It's kind of a contradiction, but I would say...
Okay. Did Jesus come to bring peace on earth?
What?
Did Jesus come to bring peace?
I would say in general, yeah, but...
Okay, so you did believe in the Gospels. In the Gospel of Luke...
Blessed are peacemakers, they should be called the children of God.
Okay, so in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 12, verse 51, Jesus is supposed saying, he says, do you suppose that I came to give peace on earth? I tell you not, but rather division.
Yeah, I read that.
So Jesus was not sent to bring peace.
But Jesus, by his own admission, says things that seem to be contradictory, but they're not. Because he went to the Jews and he said, destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will rebuild it. And they said that was symbolic. What he really meant was, if they put him to death, 3 days he would rose to death. And he said, destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will rebuild this temple. So everyone says that he's talking about our temples, that we should destroy it and he will rebuild it. But actually, he was purposely ambiguous. So,
but you're changing the verse. Let's talk about Matthew, because you believe in the Gospels. Matthew 10, 34, 35. do you think that I came to bring peace on earth? I did not come to bring peace, but a sword.
But he also
For I have come to set man against his father, a daughter against her mother, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law.
But he didn't directly come to set peace. It's just that he acknowledged that because he was bringing the gospel, there'd be satanic powers would be so prevalent in the world that it would result in much turmoil.
War.
Yeah.
So Jesus came with a sword, not to bring peace.
Well,
that's what the verse says.
Indirectly, but not indirectly.
Okay.
That's how I read it.
All
right. Well,
so let me just ask you one last question. Is Jesus God?
I'm not sure.
You're not sure. Okay.
But
would God be lower than angels?
What?
Would God be lower than angels?
God be lower than angels? No.
No. Okay. So in Hebrews, New Testament,
Hebrews, St. Paul,
chapter 2, you don't believe in Hebrews?
We put the gospel ahead of everything else. Christians, I do anyway.
So you don't believe in Hebrews?
No, I wouldn't say I don't believe anything in it, but also one of the apostles, I think higher, like maybe in St. Peter or St. James or John, they said that Peter, James, and John were kind of like the higher apostles. They said, be careful when you read St. Paul because his letters are distorted.
Okay, so you're saying those are distorted, so we can.
But there could be some truth to it,
There could be.
I go ahead and read it,
Okay, so here you find in the Hebrews, chapter 2, verse 9. But we see Jesus, who was made a little lower than angels.
Yeah.
So would God be lower than angels?
Well, the story is that he was. It was that God was trying to come to our level so He could show us the right way.
So God became lower than angels.
Yeah. But if you
does that really make sense to you?
Well, I don't understand it all. See, But Islam isn't unique in saying that Jesus isn't God, because there were many Christian sects before Islam that said the same thing.
Okay, we'd agree with them that He wasn't God. So would you agree with that?
Even the Jehovah's Witnesses, they see more like an angel.
We don't believe Him being the Son of God either, so that would probably be a little
Here's
different,
the thing, too, that kind of contradicts is that everywhere in the Gospels, Jesus says God is our Father. God is everyone's Father.
Right.
So,
good point.
So this thing about God has no son in the Quran, it seems somewhat contradictory to this.
How is that? Would you say that when Adam is called the son of God in the Bible, or Ephraim or Israel, those are more a metaphor or a simile or a kind of a device in literature?
Yeah.
Okay, so that means they're not literal sons, right?
You can see kind of the contradiction, right?
Well, no, it's not, because in Islam, our belief is that God has no physical children, right? So unlike most Christians believe that Jesus was physically the Son of God. We don't believe that. If you mean son in a term of... Let me finish.
It was really
Can I finish?
a really widely accepted as Christians. Jesus called God Father, and He gave this prayer, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
So He's praying to the Father.
Yeah.
So He's not praying to Himself. Okay, so that means He has a God.
But you believe in this prayer?
I believe in the Quran because that is what is preserved. In the Bible that we have printed today, I believe, as you believe, that a lot of has been twisted and changed, and there's a lot of deception and changes. So anything in the Bible today that I see, I have to judge it by the Quran. Does that make sense to you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So let me read one more verse for you. Revelations chapter 3, verse 12. He who overcomes, I will make him a pillar in the temple of my God, and he shall go out no more. Revelations chapter 3, verse 12. Right? I will write on him the name of my God and the name of the city of my God, the new Jerusalem, which came down out of heaven from my God. So whose Jesus is God? The Father. So Jesus is not God then, because God wouldn't have a God, right? That makes no sense, right?
You see, I don't dispute to know everything about the so-called Trinity.
I agree with you that it makes no sense.
Well,
right?
I wouldn't say it doesn't make no sense.
Well, how does it make sense?
I don't know.
I mean, tell me how it makes sense. You're a human being. You're intelligent, right? So if God has a God, does that make sense? Does the Father have a God?
Now, if I come to this, I'll say I don't know, and then I'll quote the Old Testament that says
God is not the author of confusion.
No. It says I think Isaiah. It says who has known the mind of the Lord. Who has ever...
Wait, so you believe in the Old Testament or you don't?
What?
Because when I was going to quote the Old Testament, you said it's not reliable. Now you're depending on it. Isn't that a little bit contradictory?
I would say it seems that many places it seems to contradict.
Okay, so then let's... No, but if it contradicts, then leave the Old Testament out, right? We can't depend... Like, let's say you have a measuring stick.
If you're like American, you like the Constitution, but there's one part of the Constitution that was really bad.
But the Constitution is not the word of God, right? So the Constitution is the work of men. If you're saying this is the work of men, then I'd agree with you, and then it's no longer divine, right? It's the work of men.
But I think you're using too much black and white reading.
But it is, right? But see, Islam, we have a very clear distinction. The word of God is perfect. No contradictions, no additions, no subtractions, right? The word of men can be changed and then has to be taken with a grain of salt, right? Does that not make sense?
Yeah, but
I mean, would you say the word of God would have contradiction?
I don't know for sure.
Okay. Have you read the Quran?
Yeah, 3 times.
The whole Quran?
3 times.
Excellent. So, what in the actual Quran did you find pleasing? Did you like?
Just because it was kind of familiar with Christianity.
Okay, like what verse, what chapter? You've read it 3 times, so I'm sure you're familiar with it. Can you name any chapter in the Quran? Any one? Reading it 3 times, I'm sure you could name a lot of them, right? Because I could name a bunch of them in the Bible.
Can I name what?
Any chapter in the Quran. Because if you read it 3 times, I'm sure you know. What about the Quran puts you, like you've already admitted that in the Bible there are clear contradictions, right?
Yeah, I think the other thing too is honestly, it seems women are too excluded from
How's that?
the religion.
How's that?
There's no women here.
Oh, I mean, just because there's no women here doesn't mean they're excluded.
Yeah, but it seems that way.
Right? But I mean, shouldn't a woman in Christianity be covered when she's out herself? It's in the New Testament. First, you know the verse already? Corinthians chapter 11, verses 5 to 10. But every woman who prays or prophesies with her head uncovered dishonors her head. For that is one and the same as if her head were shaved. For if a woman is not covered, let her also be shorn. But if it's shameful for her to be shorn or shaved, let her be covered. So wouldn't you say that Christian women then, according to this, should be covered?
Paul again. I don't think
Corinthians as well?
St. Paul. I don't think.
No, so I mean, so then most of the New Testament's also corrupted. So what do you believe in?
I'm kind of like I'm saying, I'm searching.
Okay. So when you're searching, you see all these New Testament, Old Testament corruption that you have admitted and you have brought to me. So what I'm saying is the Quran is unchanged, Word of God, no contradiction. When you read it 3 times, did you find a single contradiction?
The same thing about the Bible.
But I just showed them to you. And you just tell them, come here and discuss it with us.
Okay.
All right? Let's keep going. Go home, pray to the one Creator to guide you the truth, and come back and we'll talk more.
Yeah, I want to learn about the Zoroastrian religion, but I can't find it.
Don't waste your time.
You know about it?
Yeah, I know about it.
Are they in Istanbul? I was in Istanbul. I was wanting to talk.
No, Istanbul is mostly Muslim right now. The Zoroastrians are spread all over the world,
Yeah, I
but
heard they were in Istanbul.
they're mostly in Iran.
I heard they're mostly in Ankara, Turkey.
No, not. I mean, there may be some, but Ankara is mostly Muslim. It's
So you think
Turkey.
mostly Indians there?
No, mostly in Iran that I've heard of. Yeah, that's where they're from. But they worship fires. That doesn't really make sense, right? You could kind of put water on their god, and
But you know,
there goes that.
How about this tradition? It's always been a Christian tradition that the 3 wise men that came to Bethlehem were Zoroastrian priests. It's
Where's that? Is that in the Bible?
No, it's not in the Bible, but
so-
it's in a lot of the Christian traditions.
But those are all made up. So I mean, what's the point,
I
right?
don't know. It was very prevalent though.
But where is it from? Where is it documented?
You know, it's almost like it'd be comparable like the Hadith.
Well, hadith are checked.
What?
Hadith are checked. Like hadith, we check who said it, who they heard it from. I have a master's in it, so don't think that I don't know about hadith sciences, right?
I don't know enough about that.
So
It's a tradition.
No. Hadith is not just tradition.
I think
Hadith is.
It would probably be Eusebius.
Eusebius was a liar, right? He admitted himself. I can give you the quote where he said that I've left out that which would not benefit the Christian church.
Eusebius.
Yes.
Yeah. I thought it was
Victor,
I thought it was a
Eusebius,
great
you wanna break it down about him being a liar?
Yeah, he was a liar. He got called out.
He himself wrote that he left out parts of history that didn't benefit.
Yeah, he said. Yeah, he said it. Yeah. Yeah, Eusebius.
Most authors have called him the greatest forger of Indoctia.
Well, this is the biggest forgery.
Bishop of Caesar.
Have you heard of?
I don't know if he's a bishop.
Testimonial Flaviana?
Are we talking about the same as Eusebius?
Yes, we are.
About the historian Eusebius. He's the only historian. He redacted all
The
that.
historian, the history of the Christian church.
Yeah,
Yes.
I have to look at home. But this is the thing. This is how you know he's lying. Out of 300 years of Christian history, 400 years of Christian history, no church father, nobody quoted the Testimonial Flavianum from Josephus. Every historian knows that passage is fabricated. And guess who's the first person in history to quote it?
Eusebius. No, but he actually himself wrote that he fudged or he hid from history. It's a quote from his own writings. So would you believe somebody who admitted themselves to not recording things and leaving out that which wouldn't benefit them? Like, don't you think that's a forgery or a bias when somebody's...
So Eusebius after around the time of Constantine.
Yeah, he was around that same time. He
Yeah.
was like the bishop, yeah.
Yeah, well,
Go home and look it up.
I'm not saying I believe everything.
No, but read his own writings. You do believe what he says about himself, right? Like if I came and told you that, I bought this table, then...
About this wall in Mexico, they say Trump wanted to build a wall in Mexico, but Trump himself has the fake news media.
I think let's go back to the religion, not politics, right? So if Trump himself says I wanted a wall, then you would believe that he wants a wall, right?
Well, here's the thing. They say the news media is fake, so how do you know Trump ever said this?
But when you hear Trump himself saying it, you think they're dubbed it, or
But I heard
you think they photoshopped
on the
him?
trial of Trump. I heard on the trial of Trump, all these people who accused Trump of fighting say, let's fight. There's like 100 recordings. All these people say, fight, all over. I heard that too. So,
I have no idea what you're saying. I'm saying if Trump himself says
was
that I want a wall, can we assume that he wants a wall?
Trump said fight like hell, so they said that's the reason there's an insurrection in the Capitol.
Okay.
Fight like hell. But then the news, his defense at his trial, they had little extras of all the Democrats including Biden saying fight.
I agree, but Trump did say let's fight like hell, right? Whether that caused a riot or not is a different issue. But his statement was there, right?
So fight like hell, but they cut out the part that said
right, good point. So do this. Eusebius, look up his writings, right? You can get a book. You can get it at the library if you don't want to buy it, and read what he wrote. And if you find you can
PDF file.
Yeah, you can go PDF it. Yeah.
If you go to,
I can't use the
I'm not
computer.
sure if his book is
I
available.
can't use the computer.
Okay, I'll tell you what.
Turn on a library,
I'll tell you what.
If you
Listen.
go Google it for PDF,
Let's do
you
this.
can probably find it.
Next week.
Turn on a library, don't have
Listen.
it.
Next Sunday.
Downtown libraries,
Yo.
plastic and the glare from
Bro.
the lights.
Listen. Come next week, and he'll bring the book for you. How's that?
Yeah, I'll bring a book for you. You can keep it.
I got
Salt. No, don't let him keep it. Just let him read it, right?
No, that's okay.
All right. So if you read it from his own words, would you then admit it?
So you use too much. You say you use what we call black and white. Right? You can say it's called this way.
All right. Look,
But
bro.
I say maybe it's in the middle. You know?
So that he's a part-time liar?
Yeah,
Okay. So would you believe a part-time liar?
maybe.
All right. Well, I want to sell you a bridge. No, I'm just messing with you, bro. Have a good day, man. Thank you.
جاء الحديث بغربة الإسلام فليبكي المحب لغربة الأحباب فالله يحمينا ويحفظ ديننا من شر كل معاند سباب